How do you go from zero, zilch, nada to 1 million in sales in 12 months? And we're going to show you, if I were to start again with nothing, what would be these steps month by month that I would take to go and make that million. So if you're ready for a wild ride and to start making more money, this is the video for you. Let's jump in right now. So how do we take you from a standing start, 0, to 1 million in 12 months? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about. It's going to be step by step, month by month, that anybody can follow, no matter where you're starting from. So you might want to save this video, or if you're using YouTube Premium, even download this video so you can watch it on the move and come back to it, because the content that we're going to be dropping and the information that we're going to be dropping in this video is no hold bars. This is exactly what I would do if I was starting over again. So if you are sitting there listening to me now, asking yourself, how do I start seeing better results in 2025? This really can be the answer for you. Hey, and if you're watching me for the first time and you don't know who I am, my name is Adam Stott, and I've built multiple 8-figure businesses. And I've actually done this multiple times, where I've started from 0, gone out and built million dollar companies very quickly in short spaces of time. So you can be assured that this isn't theory. This is things that I've actually done, practically put in place, and I've done it in the coaching industry, I've done it in the events industry, I've done it in the automotive industry in 3 different sectors, in cars, in servicing, in body shops. So I've done this multiple times. So you want to pay close attention. If you can, take down lots of notes, because I'm really going to be giving you massive amounts of information. And if you apply the steps that I'm about to share with you, you can get very excited, because the results are going to be huge. And you might be wondering, well, Adam, look, why are you doing this? Why are you actually going to come here and tell me how to go and do $1 million? And it's very simple. I'm hoping that I can help you get over that first hurdle, get out there, start making money, and then more than likely, you might be grateful to the things that we've done together and want to work with me further in the future. So this is my way of putting my foot forward first, giving you a ton of value, and hopefully down the line, we end up working together a bit further. So if that sounds good, let's jump right in. So step 1, the first thing we are going to do to go from 0 to 1 million is we are going to identify our ideal buyer. So you might have heard things like this before, and maybe you didn't 100% understand. Well, why do I want to go and find my ideal buyer? Why is that the first step? And why is it so important? Well, the reason it's critically important, if you want to make $1 million in the next 12 months, and that's what you want to do, we've got to make sure that the person that we're going to serve has that money available to give to you. And a lot of people make this mistake. They target people that are not ideal buyers. They're so happy to get a client or a customer, they'll just sell anything to anyone. We're going to do this differently. I want you to remember that what we're about to do here is show you month by month, what do we want to do. Now, month 1, your first month is going to be identifying who that person is. We're going to find an ideal customer that has got an ideal problem that we can solve. And that problem, which you're going to see when we build our offer, is going to be a high value problem. There is no point saying, my ideal customer is going to be Joe and Bob that want a new t-shirt, because if we sell t-shirts for £10, we're going to have to sell a lot of t-shirts to make $1 million. Now, I want to find an ideal customer, ideally that is a business, not a t-shirt. We want to deal with a business. And remember, you can do what you want to do, of course, but if you want to make $1 million in 12 months from standing 0, the easiest, fastest way to do that, your step number 1 when it comes to you targeting this ideal customer, is we want to make sure that this ideal customer is a business customer. It's going to make your life easier to sell to a business rather than an individual. And remember, every step links together. So when we get into month 2 and we're going to create an offer, you're going to see why that's so important. Now, the second part of this, to go from 0 to a million very, very fast, is to make sure that your offer that we're going to create in a moment is a service offer. We want to be giving a service to a business that has a big problem. And that's how we're going to identify who that is. Now, I'll give you a couple of examples just to make this easier for you. When you look at different businesses that are easy to grow and scale, it's because they solve business problems. Easy example, making $1 million in 12 months flat, a recruitment business. They find a business that wants to hire staff into their team. And that is a problem that this ideal customer has. And when they solve that problem, they get paid for introducing staff member to said business. And usually that can be anywhere between 10 to 20% of the salary. So when you look at that, if you introduce different staff members to a business in a recruitment function, you can make money quite quickly. So then all you have to do is say, well, who's the ideal customer? And this is the lesson. We could go out to any business and we could find any business that would want some staff. And very quickly, we could go and hire staff for a call center, for example. And they might be hiring lots of different people, and you've got people coming in and they're coming in quickly and lots of them. But each person that goes and works in that call center might be on 20K a year, 25 grand a year. So they're getting 10% of the salary. That means you're going to make £2,500 for hiring someone into the call center. Where if we went out and we found, someone that was a finance director that was on £100,000 a year, well, now we need to do 1/4 of the work than we would if we were recruiting for the telesales center. So it's important to understand that your ideal customer, your dream customer in this scenario from 0 to a million is 1, a business, and 2, has a sizable problem. And even more important than that, that number 3, we can solve with a service. So this is exactly what I will do. Business customer, solve problem, solve this with a service. So your mission from here at this stage is to, and as I said earlier, make sure you save this video, because the way we're going to approach this is you could just watch it. You can watch all the way through and you could nod and go, yeah, that sounds good actually. I could do that, Adam, and okay, that makes sense. I get it, etc. And then you could go on and watch another 50 YouTube videos about something completely different. Or you could actually use this YouTube video to go and make £1 million in the next year. Which one would you prefer? You can tell me in the comments. And if you want to do that, then, well, save this video, download this video, bookmark this video at this point and say, okay, my first step is I've got to go and find that business. And there are multiple different ideas. I can throw some different ideas. Perhaps you want to be a marketing business. You've got some skill set in marketing. So you want to go and find a business that doesn't know how to market. You're going to come into their business. You're going to get them customers. You're going to get them clients. That's going to help them as well. That's going to be another great service. Perhaps you're going to find a business where you want to help them with a HR service. Is another good one as well, because you're going to deal with their human resources in their business. Maybe you've got experience in finance and you're going to go and you're going to solve the problems a business owner has around finance, and you're going to help them with that service. When we get into month 2, step 2, which is all about creating our offer, we're going to revisit that. But your first step is to figure out what is the business you want to help, what is their sizable problem, and how will you solve this with a service. Now, there's a couple of other tips here to help you on selection. So a couple of final tips on you identifying who might be the right customer for you to target and help, and this could give you some extra value. So first of all, 1, leverage your experience. And you might be sitting there and you're like, well, I don't really have any experience, Adam. And a lot of people might say that to themselves, but the truth is you do. your experience might have been that you actually worked in a restaurant. Well, that means you've got some knowledge around hospitality. And actually, you could help a business on hospitality. Maybe you could go and help them within their restaurant greet their clients better, serve better. You could perhaps do some, mystery shopping product for that hospitality business because you understand it, because you've worked in it. So you've always got to look at, how do I leverage my experience? Perhaps you worked in an accountancy business before and you understand numbers. Well, you can leverage that experience. Whatever it is you've done prior before, you gain some proprietary experience in, and you can serve those types of businesses that you have knowledge. It just cuts the learning curve. And remember, we want to go from 0 to 1 million in the 12 months. On that basis, it's much easier to do something you know or do something you have experience in. And that can be your big clue of who you should be looking at. And then all you got to do is, once you've really looked back through your CV, I mean, if you look, for example, when I first started my first ever coaching business, I didn't go, I'll help everybody. I first started off working with car dealers and service centres and body shops. Why? Because I'd run those businesses. I knew it inside out. And I'd worked in those businesses. Even if I hadn't run those businesses, I'd worked in those businesses prior, and the lessons that I picked up, I would be able to go and serve and help a business because of my experience in that area. And you can do the same too. Now, I've been training business owners for a long time, and I really know what goes around the mind in terms of limiting beliefs and, I don't know if I could do that, and I don't know if I could help, and I don't know if I'm good enough. And sometimes people even say, I don't want to get pigeonholed though, Adam. I used to work in hospitality, but I don't want to be in hospitality the rest of my life. Or I used to work in the gym. Does that mean I'm confined to gyms forever? And that's what people often think. But the reality is, where you start is not where you end. Remember, the point of this video is that you're going to go from 0 to 1 million in the course of 12 months. Now, if we were going to go from 0 to 1 million in 12 years, you could take the first 5 years to go and study, spend 10,000 hours mastering something brand new, and that would be the first 5 years worth of study. But that's probably a different video. If you want to see that video, you can tell me in the comments. But for the time being, we want to do this fast, we want to do this quick, and we want to take you on that journey. So first part of this, when it comes to identifying who's the person for you to serve, you want this to be someone or something that you have experience in. The second part of this is identify with this ideal client a serious problem that causes them massive pain or produces massive gain. So it's got to be one of these two things, because this will be what motivates somebody to say yes to you. You're going to attack a problem which causes pain, or you're going to attack a problem that provides gain. Well, let's identify what this is, for example. So let's say that this person you're going to target, you've got some experience, you've listened to point number 1, and you've got some experience in accountancy, for example, and you've been in that world before. So what type of problem might an accountancy business actually have? Well, they could have a number of problems that were causing them pain. Usually one of the pain points for small business is client acquisition. So how are they going to go and actually get more clients for their accountancy business? And that could be one that you could solve from. So you can go and say, hey, you're probably not getting enough new clients through the door. I'm going to come into the business and show you how to get more business. Or I'm going to come into the business, I'm going to get you more business. This is what makes the next part, which is where we're going to create our offer, a no-brainer if you've identified the pain point. Now you might say, no, they've got enough clients. That's not the problem. Well, maybe they've got a problem in the delivery. And you could actually come and say, well, I've got experience in this area. I can take a number of clients off your back so you can work on other things and we can deliver the service to those clients, and you can do that for a certain set offer that we're going to come up with. But you've got to identify a client that has a pain point or that has a gain point. So take the exact same scenario. We go to an accountancy business and we say, look, you've got all of these customers, you've got all of these clients, you've got 500 of them, whatever it might be. How often do you make them other offers? And the accountancy firm's going to be like, oh no, we don't make them any other offers. We're a bit too busy for that and we're constantly doing the work. And you say, well, one of the things that I do is I go into accountancy businesses. By the way, this is just an example for you of a gain point. I go into accountancy businesses and I upsell them this extra service and they split the profit with the accountancy owner. And what that means is you don't have to do anything and you get 50% worth of the sales that are created. So it's a complete no-brainer for you. That's where you're working with a business. And that way, if you go and you sell those businesses £200,000 worth of products, the accountancy businesses, you get an extra 100,000 for doing nothing, and you're getting 100,000 as well into your business. You go, yeah, but Adam, that's not $1 million. Well, then you only need 10 people to do that for, and now you've got $1 million. Make sense? So it's actually pretty simple stuff when you really understand the moves. So these are your steps. Leverage your experience, something you've got experience in, to cut the learning curve. Identify what the pain points or the gain points are of the target market. And then number 3, make sure that this target market is what we said, a business, and that you can provide a service to that business. If we follow those 3 steps, that can give you that ability to identify who the right person to serve moving forward in this business is. And then in the second month, because this is just month 1, I actually want you to spend that time really deep diving. This is what I see, like loads of businesses and business owners, they don't spend enough time on the bit that we've just talked about. They just go, well, you know, I'm going to come up with this and that, and they go out and start trying to market something that's not that compelling. Well, if you actually really identified this amazing target market that you could go and you could get into very, very quickly, it'd be a complete game changer for you and it'll make your life so much easier. So a little bit of prep on this is going to give you a lot of gain on step 2, which we're going to jump into now. Now, by the end of month 1, you've got your ideal customer, a dream buyer that you've got some experience in dealing with, and you've also really identified what their pain point is, and you started to consider the business service that you could attach to that pain point, which is number 3. What service can you have that solves the pain or solves the gain? So then we are ready for month 2, which, as you can see, here's one we prepared earlier. You are going to create a high ticket offer for that ideal client. This is critically important because if you want to make $1 million in 12 months, you're not going to do that selling £1 lollipops. Because if you're going to sell lollipops for £1, you've got to sell 1 million of them to get going. But what you also often people forget is that if you're selling 1 million lollipops for £1, you've got to buy those lollipops, and if they cost you 50p, you've got £500,000 worth of startup capital to go and sell those lollipops, which is what stops most businesses from getting started in the first place. And we see this all the time. I see new businesses, maybe it's not lollipops, but it's t-shirts, and maybe it's not t-shirts, but it's little art and crafty type products that people are wanting to take to market. The problem with that is it's okay, you can build a nice small lifestyle business and, you know, do some cool things, and there are the, you know, they are the exceptions to the rule. Like you've got a Gymshark that goes out there and becomes a billionaire based off brand building, but that's a different skill set, right? And going from 0 to £1 million, the way to do that is not via these types of products, it's actually to provide that service, and this is where it becomes critically important. Now, the reason that you want a service-based offer, and the reason that this should be your top priority on this game, is because the product has capital startup costs. You've then got to go and you've got to create something. You've got to buy something in. You've got to do some drop shipping, some e-commerce, all that kind of stuff. The margins are so low that you might, even if you do go and sell £1 million worth of stuff, you end up invariably making very little money. One of the lessons that I wished that I knew earlier is about business models. In a product-based business, the margins are much smaller than in a service-based business. And in addition to this, the startup costs in service-based businesses are much smaller. So the margins are bigger and the startup costs are smaller, which means it's a no-brainer for you to focus on being a service to start with. Now, if you want to flip to products in the future, when you've got lots of money in the bank and you can invest and you can grow, that's absolutely cool. But if you're an entrepreneur at that startup stage, having a high value, high ticket service is a great way to go. So your price point, and I'm looking at this as if I'm starting from zero. I've got no money. I'm starting at the beginning. I'm going again. And I'm literally going to go 0 to $1 million in 12 months. What type of product am I going to create? I would want my product to be a minimum 20K service. And ideally, 30K, even better, 40K, even better, 50K. I want a much, much more expensive service. And you might go, well, I was with you, Adam, then, but charging 20K or 30K, £30,000, £40,000 or £50,000, I just don't think I could do that. And that's where a lot of people really lose sight of what is possible, because they think that 20, 30, 40, 50K is a lot of money. Well, actually, it really isn't. Well, if you're in the Western world, you're in the United States, you're in the UK, and you live in a house, especially in the UK, how much does your house cost? Probably 500K. You know, how much does the car that you drive or other people you know drive? Probably 20, 30, 40, 50K as well. So there is money out there and people pay for solutions. So this is an important thing to understand, is that value that you give always outweighs cost. And if a business, and this is why I told you to target a business in the beginning, because I knew that this is where we're going, if a business has to pay 20K to solve a problem, or 30K to solve a problem, or 40K or 50K to solve a problem, that's going to make them 10 times more than what it costs, then that's a good deal. So let's examine this. If you're a business, would you pay 20K to make 200? The answer would be yes. Would you pay 30K to make 300? Yes. Would you pay 40K to make 400? Yes. Would you pay 50K to make 500? Yes. So this is where you flip back to your first part and say, well, did you really identify a serious pain point? Because a serious pain point carries a serious price tag. And if you are able to address that price tag and come up with a really good offer to help someone get value, then people are going to be more than happy to pay you consummate to the amount of the problem that you solve. So your high ticket offer, first of all, needs to be a much higher price point. And remember, if you don't want to make £1 million, you're watching the wrong video, right? You can keep the belief that, oh, I don't want to do it, that's fine. But if you want to make £1 million, and that's why you're watching this video, coming up with an offer of 20, 30, 40 or 50K really is critical, because it's going to get you there so much quicker. And let's just look, we had the lollipop example over here. You've got to sell 1 million lollipops. Well, if you then go, all right, well, let's say you're selling t-shirts. So if you were to sell t-shirts for £10, you've got to sell 100,000 t-shirts to make your million. Whereas even if your product was only £10,000, you've only got to sell 100 of these to make $1 million. And then when you get to 20, you've only got to sell 50 of these to make $1 million. Pretty incredible, right? So you can see that it becomes much easier to go and make $1 million the higher the ticket price of the product or service is. So wherever you have the experience, you apply that to your high ticket problem solving. Now, this is the general rule of thumb here. You want to make sure that your high ticket offer really gives value to a business, and they can measure that value against the money that they pay. Okay, so one of the things that you want to then do with your high ticket offer is you want to make it measurable. So someone can literally measure their investment versus the value. Now, I'll give you an example. We have a coaching program where we help businesses to make more money. In this coaching program, we give a guarantee, and that guarantee is that you will make a minimum £100,000 over the 12 months. Now, the investment level for that program at Gold Circle is around 20K. And when they come into the program, they will 5x their money over the course of the year and get that £100,000 back. So they can measure it very quickly in their mind as a business and go, well, if I pay 20K and I make 100, that's not so bad, right? Now you want to make your offer similar to that, where you can actually either make someone money. These are the two important bits. People want to make money that are businesses, so this is a great thing for you to really apply to your offer. How can you make them money? Well, you may have guessed it already. How can you save them money? And if you can make them money or save them money and demonstrate that in your offer, then the price tag just goes out of the window. Because you can say, well, look, I'm an accountancy business, for example. You might have a finance director service. I'm going to come into your business and I'm going to save you £50,000 minimum out of your cost base over the course of the next 12 months. And if that's a £20,000 offer, they go, well, the minimum I'm going to save is going to be 50,000. It's going to cost me 20,000, but I'm going to get all of these additional benefits. I'm going to get my numbers looked at. I'm going to get the support. I'm going to get the help I need. Okay, well, that sounds like a fair deal. So the way that you get the price tag out of the way is to make sure that you give someone more value than you charge them for. So your second part for your high ticket offer is you've got to figure out how are you going to make your offer measurable and either make that business money or save that business money so your offer looks like a complete no-brainer. So we now got two of the hurdles done. We're 2 months into building out your million business and we're getting closer. The first thing we've done is identified an ideal target market. We've now started to create that high ticket offer. Your mission, I'll say it again, is perhaps you need some help with that. Tell me in the comments. Tell me what you're considering. Go and have some dialogue down there. Remember to save this video. I'd hate for you to get really, really excited and go, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Life get in the way and then you miss this resource and you're not able to use it. So you want to save this video, download this video, bookmark this video, or even share this video with somebody on WhatsApp, whatever it might be, so you can come back to it. And now we're going to get into step 3, which of course, we've got to get in front of that audience with your offer. You've come up with who the audience is. You've come up with a really nice offer for them that's a higher ticket price point. It's time to get out in front of them. And this is exactly what I do. This is very, very simple. If you have followed my first 2 steps, step number 3 is going to be super easy. If you haven't, you might want to skip back, follow them again, do it again, because step 3 will be much easier when you follow those bits. And what is it? It's very simple. Because they're a business, because we have an identity of what that business is, if it's accountancies, if it's PRs, if it's marketing agents, if it's a PR agency or a marketing agency, whatever it is, we are now able to go and find those people. So here's how I would do it. I would, 1, go onto LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, and I would search out that business, that ideal client. Everyone that has, so Sales Navigator, very inexpensive. You can go and add that onto your LinkedIn account very, very inexpensively. And look, at the end of the day, if you want to build £1 million business, I'm saying we're starting from scratch, we're starting from zero, and up until now, you haven't to invest nothing. But Sales Navigator, small little investment. And that investment will allow you to get in front of your audience. So what do we do with Sales Navigator? So Sales Navigator simply allows us to build a target list of the businesses that you want to serve, that you want to identify, that you want to have a conversation with. And we can build that list up. Now, what's really cool is we can also extract the data out of Sales Navigator with softwares like Apollo.io, which is where we can go and get the name, the phone number, the email address, literally of these ideal clients. And if you don't want to go through Sales Navigator, you're a bit resistant to that, maybe you don't know how to use LinkedIn, and you don't want to go through Apollo.io, and you're like, Adam, I want to make your life difficult. Well, we can go and we can just get a list of your businesses from a business database, and you could use Apollo or you could use Endo. Now, these are literally just business databases, because when you are a business, and remember, this is why I told you to target businesses in the first place, because it's going to be much easier for you. And this is why I went into that place, is because now we can go and get the data. Because every business has to register in the United Kingdom. And if you're watching the United States, there's the same type of databases over there. You've got to register your company, and the data then is registered, and it's public information. You can go and get it. Where private consumer, B2C, which is business to consumer, i.e. you the business selling to an individual, you can't necessarily get that data, and you're going to be more reliant on Facebook ads, you're going to be more reliant on other acquisition methods. But when we go business to business, we can just go and pull the data of the people we want. You want every accountancy firm in the UK? No problem. We'll look them up on Sales Nav, we'll get the info on Apollo. Now we've got all the data that we want. And then we can just restrict and go, well, first of all, I'm from Essex, so I'll start off doing Essex. I'll contact every accountancy business in Essex first. That'll be a good way for me to get started, get some testimonials, get some success stories. And now I've done Essex, now I'll do Hertfordshire. And then I've done Hertfordshire, let's go into London. And now I've done London, maybe we'll do Birmingham. And you just start to expand your geographic range out. And this is how simple it is to go and get the data to be able to go and have the conversations. So at this stage, what have you got? Your third month, which is where we're at now, is all about going and having those conversations and executing, getting in front of the people, having a great conversation with them, telling them about your offer, telling them about your service. And what have you got now? Number one, you've got an identity, you've got a target market of your ideal clients. So you know who you're aiming for. Number two, you've got a high ticket offer to talk to them about. And number three, you've now got their name, their phone number, their email address, and the ability to contact them, which means we are now moving in the direction of being able to go out and start having conversations that's going to lead us to getting business and getting deals. So now we've got all those things in place, we're ready for our next steps. And this is when we're really going to get into action. And we're now in month 4 and month 5. So we do month 4 over here, month 5 over here. What I want you to do in month 4 is I want you to craft your magnetic message. Now the reason that this is really important, I say craft your magnetic message, this is what's really, having trained thousands of business owners, and I do appreciate that some of this, I'm going all in here, could be a lot of information for you. Perhaps you could feel a little bit overwhelmed. So make sure you save the video and you come back and you re-listen to these different spots, because everything's going to link together and help you to get the result. So this craft your message, I think what business owners do wrong here a lot of the time is they go, right, Adam said I've got to craft a really good message. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this. I'm going to go on ChatGPT as well, and I'm going to play around. I'm going to make my message really good, and I'm going to look at all these different messages, etc., etc. Well, how do you actually craft a magnetic message? Yes, some of that helps. That'll get you off the starting blocks, doing that research, doing that work, coming up with a good message. But how do you know if your message is actually magnetic? It's whether people respond to it. So now is your time to start taking action and get that message out there. So now we know we're using LinkedIn, we've identified the people. So over the course of month 4, I literally just want you to send out 50 messages a day to your target market. 50 messages a day. you can use if you're like, oh, that sounds like a lot of work. Well, do you want to make £1 million or not, first of all? But yes, there's a fair bit of work, but we can make this easier with technology. Yes, we could use ChatGPT to get version 1 of our first message. Yes, we could use a software like Octopus for LinkedIn, which is another cool software that could allow us to go and start having those conversations. Then it's one press of the button, 50 messages out a day. Could you press one button per day to send 50 messages out? I think the answer is yes. I think you absolutely could do that. And that software could help you do it quickly. Or if you don't want to invest in a software, then you just got to go in and start messaging those people on Sales Navigator. Go and have those conversations. How do you know if your message is magnetic or not? Well, very simple. Are people responding or not? And this is where I've seen a lot of businesses really get stuck. Because like, you know what, I did that bit, I went in, I really figured out the ideal customer. And I got a good offer and now I've got the data. But what happens here, this is where fear creeps in. What if I send a message and they don't respond to me? What if I send a message and they don't like me? What if I send a message and they say something bad about me? Well, this is where your desire for success needs to be stronger than your people-pleasing desire. Because if you send 50 messages out a day, if all this did for you is one person came back and was interested, well, that would give you 5 to 7 new leads a week. 5 if you're just doing it on weekdays. If you're doing it 7 days a week, 7 people come back and they're interested in your offer from your ideal client. Well, that would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Well, if you had 7 people a week coming back to you that were interested in your offer, and all you did was you got 2 of them to say yes to your 20k offer, well, that's £40,000 a week. And when you look at that, you go 40 across 4 weeks, you've now got 160k a month. And in addition to that 160k a month, you do that over the year, you've gone way past your £1 million in revenue. But hey, many of you don't want to be that successful yet. So why don't we just send out messages 5 days a week? And we don't want to work 7 days a week, 5 days a week, 50 messages, just target 49 no's. That's actually what I want you to target. I want you to target 49 no's a day. 49 ghosts or ignores per day, and one person saying, you know what, I'm open to a conversation with you about this. Now you got 5 leads a week, even if you do 1 deal a week at 20k, that's 80 grand a month. And we've done your £1 million already. And literally, well, we're on trajectory to do your £1 million. So let's imagine that you're going to do this. You're not going to resist. You're going to watch a video multiple times. You're going to identify that ideal client. You're going to come up with a high ticket offer. You're going to get in front of that audience. You're going to get the data. And in month 4, you're going to go out and you're going to start having those conversations. You're going to craft your message. By the way, you go out and you send 50 messages a day and all 50 say no, no one comes back to you, and you don't even get a bite. Imagine you are in a fishing lake and you're sitting there and you were sitting there all day, you're throwing your rod in and you sit there all day long, 10 hours a day, and you don't get a single bite. What might you do? You might move to another part of the lake because clearly the bait there isn't working. And that's where you know if your message is wrong. But if you were able to get 1 response a day from your messages, you know you've got some bait there and you've got some opportunity there. And even if you got 5 new leads a week and you had 20 leads over the course of the first month, and even if just 1 of them said yes to you, you would have 1 20k offer that's sold. And now you've got 1 20k offer that's sold, guess what you got? Well, you know what you got. You got 20k, you've got some cash in bank. You've got some opportunity to really start making your life easier, because up until now, we've really not invested anything. We've just talked about a couple of mini little softwares, some £97 a month type stuff. Now we've actually got an opportunity because we've brought in some sales. So your mission here in month 4 is 50 messages a day looking for one person to be interested. I'll give you another quick tip on this, which is, and I say to all my clients that we coach and train, you want to market the free line. Don't go out and tell them that you've got a 20k offer and you want to talk to them about your 20k offer. In this message, you go out and say, hey, look, I understand you're a finance business. I understand you're a recruitment business. I understand that you've got this problem. We've got a way of solving that. Would you be free to jump on a Zoom call for 30 minutes and have a conversation about how we can help you solve that problem? So you market the free line, not the 20k offer. And what that will do is that will get you in front of people and give you one of the biggest skills in business and biggest opportunities in business, which is relationship capital. Because if you start having 5 Zooms a week with your ideal client and you're building relationship and you're showing enthusiasm, showing that you want to help them and showing you know how to help them, it's not going to take very long for you to start picking up some of these clients. And then you want to move through the hierarchy of contact. So the hierarchy of contact is perhaps you start on Zoom and some people are like, well, I had a Zoom call and then they ghosted me. Well, make the next appointment in person. Go up to their offices, go and sit in front of them and sign the deal, sign the contract. Is it worth a quick drive or a train ride for £20,000? I think the answer to that is simply yes. And remember, following these steps, this is how you can start to move through and generate revenue. Why do we want to generate revenue? Because now we're in month 5. And surely you're now already getting to the point where you're like, you know what? I've got a few leads on the go. I'm doing these Zoom calls. And this is where most people go wrong. So this is like, the wake-up call you've ever tried and failed before. Some of you might have been watching, you tried to do some of these things, you've had some hiccups, it's not quite worked out. And if that is the case, tell me in the comments as well. I'll be keen to hear. But what you want to do to remain consistent is what most people don't do. Because I know that there are people that go, well, you know what, I did step 1 in the past. I went out and got my ideal client and, usually they don't do step 2, which is build a high ticket offer. I sold them something small and then they go and they got in front of the audience. Well done you. It sounds like you're a grinder. You've gone out, you made it happen, which is awesome. And then what happens is they get in front of the audience and they get stuck in the delivery. And they end up in this loop. So this is what the loop is like. You go out and you find the person, the ideal client, and you agree a deal. So you say, oh, do you want me to do this for you? And they say, yes, that sounds awesome. You then go away and you do all the work and you're sitting there grinding it out, making it happen. You then go back and you deliver what you just created back to that client that you met here. And you give them the thing that you created and they say thank you. And guess what? You're back to square one again, trying to find another customer to do the loop. And you're constantly in that loop and that circle of just going round and round and round and round and round and round and round. Would you like to break that habit, team? You absolutely would like to break that habit. The way you do that is you do this part of the equation, but you don't do the delivery part of the equation, which is going to slow you down. So now you've got your 20K, you now need to go and find people that can work with you. And you need to start to outsource. There's 2 things you can outsource here in month 5. 1, you can outsource the 50 messages a day. So you say, I've got this model where we message 50 people a day, we get 1 lead back, go out, take the template, go and message those, go and build the relationships, go and do that. Now they're doing it for you. And look, let's say you've got to pay them £2,000 a month to do that. Well, if they get you 1 deal where you make 20, are you happy? Well, you probably would be because that's 10x on your money. But you want more than 1 deal, so maybe you get 2 of them. And now you're sending out 100 messages a day. So then you do 2 deals that make you 40k and you pay out 4. Well, this is good because you've now got £36,000 there and you're starting to grow, which is really going to help you to start moving forward on your business. Now, what's the next most important part? So you can either outsource this or you can keep doing it. Up to you, but you must outsource something. So you must reinvest the money that you create here back into the business. And this is what most people don't do. They have a little win, and because of their beliefs around money, because of their money mindset, they don't reinvest. This is ideal. Reinvest, reinvest, reinvest to build, reinvest to grow. So what we want to do here is either reinvest in the 50 messages or the 100 messages a day, or alternatively, invest in somebody else doing the delivery of the product so you can keep doing the messages and you can keep doing the meetings so you keep the sales rolling. So just to recap, on your month 4, we're going to move into the action of going out and generating revenue. You've got a plan there now. And if you've got questions on that, you can ask us in the comments. If you want to run something by us, you can put it in the comments. If you want to check out whether you feel that your message is compelling, put it in the comments. Comment section's there for a reason. We don't bite. We'll come back to you. My team will answer, and I'll answer individually as well, whether we feel like your offer's got legs. Be more than happy to help you there. And secondly, we want to outsource either the delivery or the messaging part, the marketing part of the business, so we can start to step forward into our next month where we're really going to start to drive it up. But hopefully you've been enjoying these steps so far and you're taking those actions. And I haven't even said this yet, but if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, because not only are we going to be doing this video, but if you like it enough, we may well do a part 2 as well, where we show you how to go from 1 to 10 million. But in the meantime, let's jump into month 6. So now you're in an awesome space. You've got that ideal client. You've got that offer. You've gone and got that offer out there. You've now started to outsource some of the delivery of the offer. And now we want to really start moving forward. So we're now at month 6. You're generating revenue. You've got your high ticket offer out there in the market. You're making money. And really there's 2 things that we want to do at this stage to really start to get this business in great shape. One of them is we really want to focus, I'm going to split this down the middle, is we want to focus on client success, because now you've got some businesses that you're dealing with. You want to make sure that you're creating some huge success stories from those clients that you started to serve. And some of the earliest clients that we've served and the successes that they've had, we still talk about this to this day. I mean, I started this service-based business that I have, Big Business Events, in 2016. And in 2016, we put a lot of focus early on, exactly what I'm telling you to do right now, which is to get recorded success stories from your clients. Because what's going to make your ideal clients want to come on board with you even more in the future is when they can see you've helped lots of people like them. So I want you at this stage to focus on recording all of your client success. Your social media is now going to become about your client success. You're going to be shouting from the rooftops and getting the message out that you are the go-to business. You're the go-to business in this sector. And you're going to start to own that niche. You're going to start to build out all those success stories. This part of the business is going to be a really compelling chance for you to just get your website full of success stories, get your branding full of success stories. You want to push your brand on, go and start winning awards, start getting in the media, talking about the success you've had with your clients and building your halo effect out for your business. This is one of the things that I train our clients on deeply, is how to build a halo effect which shines over everything that you do. Because now, guess what? You've got your outsourced messaging, you've got your outsourced delivery, you're still involved in the sales process, but you've actually managed to get a little bit of your time back, and now you can start working on this brand element, getting your social media rocking, getting your messages out there, and get everyone to know how good you are at this marketplace. Now, the irony is, a lot of people, the first thing they want to do is they want to go and start with the social media stuff. But the problem is they've not really got anything to talk about. They've got no success stories to take out there to market, and they haven't gone and had conversations with the ideal client. So we're going to do that slightly differently. And we're going to do that at this stage where we build the brand out. And you can spend a solid month reinvesting in the website, reinvesting in the social media, reinvesting in videography, going out and getting case studies of your client. This is really going to bolster your offer. So when you now go out and you have those conversations, remember 49 people a week are saying no to you. You can start sending them the case studies saying, hey, I know you didn't come back to me, but I really want you to see my client David that's just gone and got these results in the same industry as you. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, actually this could be okay. And then you can regularly start to follow up on this target list with success stories from the industry, which is really going to start to draw those people towards you that were ignoring you. And now you're getting them interested because you're showing them how much you win for other people. That's what I want you to do on month 6, which is going to allow us to move into month 7. That really leaves us ready to go into month 7 with a strong, powerful brand, making money, so we can really start to move on to the next stage. So the next stage is all about building your sales process. So you've been doing this for a while now. You've been having marketed the free line, getting people on the calls with you, getting them to go on and to become a buyer into your product or service, which is incredible. But wouldn't it be awesome now if you could get other people to do that for you? So at this stage, I want to start building out, because remember, this is the aim of the game. This is accelerated, taking you to 1 million. And you ain't getting to 1 million without a marketing team and a sales team that's going to go out there and make things happen for you, so you can really focus on building the business for the long term. So in month 7, we've got to really get that sales process outsourced. So there's 2 parts of the sales process that become really important. And the 2 parts are, we've got the follow-up process that we want to make sure is followed up, and we've got the high ticket sales process in play. So these 2 processes, the follow-up process, the skill set of the person you need to do the follow-up process doesn't need to be of an insane skill set. Just somebody following up on the leads that you've had calls with, following up on the inquiries that are coming into the business. You don't need to go and get somebody like a world-class person. It's more of a customer service type role. What you really need, and this is called in the industry, this is called a setter, is you just need to get a setter that is going to have conversations and dialogue and make sure there's no loose ends, and you're going to keep nurturing people back into your free line offer. So the first hire that you'll probably have in the sales function is to go and get one of those setters that can work with you and keep teeing leads up. This is going to take the process off you. That is somebody you want to be able to get onto the phone. You want to be able to make sure that people are turning up to the appointments that they're having with you, following different things up, following the DMs up and working with that person. But the next hire that you want is you want to actually replace yourself as the person that's going out and selling all the deals. So this is where you'd want a more experienced person that could close some of the sales leads. Now, the reality is many businesses might take 5 years, 7 years, 10 years to replace this function. But we're on an accelerated learning curve here. We're going to 1 million in 12 months. So we've got no time to mess around. So we're going to go out and we're going to get these people now. And literally, it's not going to be breaking the bank because you're already selling 2 or 3 of your high ticket offers. You're at 60 grand a month or so if you started off at 20. By the way, this is important actually. I've just had a thought which I must communicate to you. I've just said you're selling 3 a month, you're at 60 grand a month. Awesome. If you ignored me and you went and created a £2,000 offer, what's the problem? Well, you're not at 60 grand a month, you're at 6 grand a month. And if you're at 6 grand a month, you can't afford to hire these, which means you fail, which means you don't get to the 1 million, which is why that second step of the high ticket offer is critical, because it gives you enough margin to be able to accelerate and bring these people into your team. That way there's enough margin to feed other people to do the work. But if you ignore that first step, then there isn't. So it's super important. So if you're like, yeah, but you can't do that and you can't do this, you might have tried that before. I tried this before. But if you tried it before with a 2K, 3K, 4K offer, the offer's too small. There's not enough margin, which means you can't build the business out in the speed that you want to. Now, if you want it to take you 5 years, you can go for a much lower ticket offer. But if you want to do it in the year, which is what this video is all about, shake that money belief, make sure you do create the high ticket offer and take it to market, because now you have removed yourself with a setter and a closer from the sales process. Pretty awesome. Now that means you've literally got your messages going out, you've got your messaging and your setter looking after those inquiries coming in. You've got a closer closing the deals, and you are literally in the place where you've got the money coming into the business, which is pretty incredible. You've now got a great business coming in. You've only got a few employees. You might be at 60, 80,000 pound a month, well on track to do your £1 million as we move into month 8. So now we're at month 8. We've got this sales team happening. We've got the marketing and the sales. This is awesome, right? You've now got marketing, sales into conversion, and you've got your client success stories, which is really cool. So you're building the business out in the right way. And I bet you're glad you've watched this far, because you can see everything linking together. Remember, share this with somebody that needs it, save the video, come back to it, don't miss a beat here, because if you actually follow this plan, this is exactly what I would do if I was starting over to go from 0 to 1 million in no time flat. And you know, we've done this many, many times, so follow along. Very, very important. What do you need to do next? You need to really solidify your team. This is super important. You've got the money coming in, you're generating that revenue, you're out of the marketing function, you're out of the sales function, and you've got some of the delivery taken care of, but now we need to reinvest in the business to solidify the team. So we're going to want to make sure that we've got a keen eye on the finances, which is super important, because like you got 80K a month probably coming in by now following this process, 4 new clients coming in. Well, if those clients stop paying you, or they miss a beat and you've not tracked that, or you're missing invoices, you're not collecting money, that's when it gets stressful. But hiring actually a strong finance person into the business, even if it's part-time, even if it's fractional, to really keep their finger on the pulse for you, is going to help you build forward and allow you to avoid a hell of a lot of mistakes. Because this is what happens with a lot of businesses, is they get excited. They're like, oh my God, this is actually working. I'm making money. This is incredible. You know, this is really, really, really cool. And then they get a £100,000 VAT bill and they go, oh my God, what happened? Because they didn't see it coming, because they weren't controlling the finances. So we've got to solidify the team. We've got to invest in the finance function of the business to make sure we've got our finger on the pulse. That is super important. We've then also got to invest into the admin function of the business. These could be categorized as a bit boring, right? You can go, well, this is boring, but it's not boring, it's critical. And the cool thing is, because you've listened to me and you created that 20K offer rather than a 2K offer, you've got appropriate margin to be able to do this. You can deliver an amazing service now with controlled finance and admin function, because you have appropriate margins within the business. And you can put these different things in place at this pace because you've got that margin. So remember, the setup is super important, because if you want to get to the finish line of that £1 million, we've got to do all these different elements. So we want the finance function covered to eliminate mistakes. We want the admin function covered, so all of the paperwork's going out, all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, and we're in full control. We want to invest in our customer service function as well. If we're at £80,000 a month, we're only talking about 3 people here to take care of all the problems. Surely you don't want any headaches. A little bit of investment means a lot less headaches. And if you're a bit concerned still about the money, is you can fractionalize these. You might only need 3 days from someone in your admin team. You might only need 3 days from someone in your finance team. And you might only need 3 days in your customer service team. And as you continue to grow, you continue to grow the people that are in your teams. So you can start fractional. So what fractional means is somebody might be working in your finance department that's got really good skills and qualities, and they're working for you, you know, a day a week or a day a month, or, you know, and they're actually working out there for other businesses as well, but you're only paying a fraction of their overall cost. So you can get someone that's £100,000 a year finance person, but you've only got to pay them, you know, £500 a day. So they're costing you £2,000 a month rather than £10,000 a month. That's what fractional is. So really good quality people, fractionalized, meaning you pay a fraction of the cost, but you actually still get to leverage their skill set, which is super important and something that you want to do. And don't overlook these areas, because these are going to be what underpins what we've already talked about. We've got the marketing, we've got the sales. This is the operation that sits with the marketing and sales that solidifies your business and turns, you know, your startup into a really serious business, and it also lays the foundation for us to scale. This video is about going to 1 million. These are the steps. We've still got a few more steps left, but if you'd like to see a part 2, where we said, how do you go from 1 million to 10 million? Then we can do that too. Having done that myself multiple times, I know the exact steps, I know the missteps as well, I know the mistakes you can make as well as the exact steps you need to make to do it successfully. But that's month 8, we're going to build out that solid team. So now we move over to month 9. You've got your high ticket offer in place, you've got your audience in place, you've got your sales function, your marketing function, your team, you've got the team in place, driving sales into the business, your 20K offer. You've now got your first month where you've closed 5 deals and you've done £100,000 in sales. This is you lifting the income cup above your head for hitting your 100K month, which is pretty incredible. You've been at your 60s, you've been at your 80s, you're now hitting your 100, which across the year is 1.2 million, of course. But at this stage, you can feel really happy that you've made the right moves, you've put the right moves in place to get to where you want to go. At this stage, the most important thing is to not become complacent. You now want to focus on what actually got you there and really over deliver to your clients and focus on client success. This is where it's going to become vitally important. So what you want to do in this stage is you want to invest back into product. A lot of people do this at the beginning. They think, well, I've got to build the best product in the world and I'm going to focus all my time on making my product incredible, and they're putting all their time and their effort into product development, and then they don't tell anybody about it and no one buys it. And then they've got the best product that they spent all this time figuring it out, but no one knows it exists. We're doing this the opposite way. We've gone out, we've built the client success, we've built the results, we're making money. We're now going to invest a lot of that money back in, making our product even better, which now gives you the long-term business plan to succeed. And we're going to keep up that continual improvement. And I liken this to, you know, when Apple launched the first iPhone, if that was perfect, that was an iPhone 1, why are there 16, 17 iPhones now if it was perfect day one? It wasn't. And that's why they just keep improving it. And that's the way you've got to look at your business. As your business generates more income, you're going to put back into product development to make it better. And there'll be someone that's going to write in the comments, but Adam, you told us this is a service. Well, when I talk about product and service, I talk about the same thing. And what I mean is, even if your business is offering the service which I told you to offer, you want to productize that service. So you want to turn it into a productized service. What does that mean? As I said earlier, we have a coaching program where I coach businesses called Gold Circle. It is a service where we coach businesses, we show them how to create a simple replicable business funnel to scale their business to 6 figures, 7 figures and beyond. Even though it's a coaching program with me and 9 other coaches, it has its own brand, and that brand is called the Gold Circle. You want to build a brand around your service so it really becomes a product that people buy into, but it's delivered as a service. which is super important. So you want to productize your service. That way you've got a brand, you can continue to grow, and you can continue to get that client success. So on our month 9, we're all going to be about reinvesting into the product, into the service to make it outstanding and to make it scalable, which allows us to move into month 10. So month 10 is where we are going to really start to add the next layer to the business, which is going to allow us more automation. Up until now, we've been quite hands-on in the business, driving it. And I always say to our clients that come on our Business Growth Secrets training, there's 3 stages to a business. There's a startup stage, there's a grow phase, and there's a scale phase. The startup phase is all about having conversations and making offers. We covered that, right? I've shown you how do you have conversations, how do you have offers, and obviously we can go deeper, but there's a really good example of how you get through that startup phase to go there and speak to lots of people, make lots of offers, go and sign business. The grow phase is all about making sure you got the right people on your team. Your business is solid, you're able to grow, you're able to remove yourself from doing absolutely everything. And then the scale phase is about using technology and automation to drive the business. And this is where we're going to get much, much smarter. The problem is most business owners, I've been training business owners since 2016, created amazing results with thousands of business owners. And many of them are looking for a scaling strategy at the start. Well, you don't need a scaling strategy at the start. You need an action-based strategy at the start. And then as you grow and you're making revenue, remember now by month 10, we're at the stage where we're doing £100,000 a month in sales. Now we're going to layer the automation on. So this is the stage where you want to bring in ads, which means that you're paying with your money rather than your time. You are literally paying money to drive your message out to the market. You really want to focus on funnels. So you're building a really great funnel to automate the process of client acquisition coming to your business. And you want to focus on community, which is you're building a community of people that love your business, love your brand, love your products and services. And this is where the focus and the energy will go now, because we are in that position where we can readily invest in ads, which drives traffic to our funnels, which builds our community, which allows us to do more ads. And all of a sudden, we've got the circle of success starting to come in place for our business by month 10. So those 3 things become pivotal: ads, funnels, community, which allows us to move into month 11. In this short space of time, if you have been following these steps, and I hope you have, you've now got to the point where you have many, many areas in business. You're at £1 million now in revenue. It's time to do what my mentor always tells me, which is super important, is to find your replacement. So all of the things that you've been doing up until now, we want to remove you as much as we possibly can from those functions, and we want to get other people doing those areas. So the way that you do this, one of the simplest ways, is to get very clear on what it is that you do every single day. So during month 11, I'm going to want you to write down day 1, day 2, day 3, all the way through to your 30 days on your month 11, everything that you do on a day-to-day basis. You want to get granular so you know what it is you're doing, every step of what you're doing, and then we want to look at who are the people that can do all the stuff that we don't want to do anymore. Because essentially you have CEO, COO, and CFO. These are the different functions essentially of a small business, a business under £10 million. You're the CEO, which is the Chief Executive Officer. You're the one that is the visionary. You have the ideas. But up until now, you've been operating the business. So more than likely, you've been doing the Chief Operating Officer, which means you've been putting this all together. You've been doing the day-to-day. You've been doing the work, which means you've come off the vision a little bit. We now need to find Who's going to be our COO, who's going to take over the operations to give you your time back? Isn't this an added bonus? You started watching this video, you thought all you was going to do was get to £1 million. Now you just realise that, hey, I'm not going to get to £1 million, I'm going to do less work. How many like the idea of making more money and doing less work? Well, if you do, this is the stage you're at now to go and find your replacement by month 11. And you go and hire that person, bring that person into the business that can take over all your work, which allows you to get visionary and focus on month 12, which is your new plan for the coming 12 months. And if you hit the million, which is where we want to do, whether that's £1 million, $1 million, wherever you're watching from, we now want to say, how are we going to go on the next phase? Some of you will want to double. Some of you want to know, how do I go from 1 to 2? We can show you that. Some of you want to go, well, how do I go from 1 to 10? We can show you that too. And you can let us know if you want to see a part 2, that's how do you go from 1 million to 2, or how do you go from 1 million to 10? We can give you the exact structures for that as well. Just put a part 2 in the comments or ask me some questions about, hey, what would you do about this? What would you do about that? You know, tell us your industry, introduce yourself in the comments so we can really get to understand what you've applied. And if you've been doing this stuff, you know, one thing that really drives me to come and make more of these types of videos is when I hear people are using the material. So do tell me, you know, I'd love to hear that. That would really encourage me to come and give you more and really focus in on that. Because at month 12, it's all about what's the new plan. What are we going to do in quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4? And this is where you focus on three-month sections rather than a year section. And you say, this is what I'm going to do over this quarter, and this is going to allow you to drive towards having an incredible year with your new £1 million business. If you've been following along, you've implemented the steps, you would have gone from wherever you were starting from to doing £1 million+ in sales, following these steps, which is absolutely incredible. I really hope that you found this super helpful, and I would love to hear more about your progress. As I said a few times, if you want to see a part 2, we can work on that. So go and use these lessons. If you've watched all the way through now and you've been watching this, well done. Put an A player actually in the comments for us, so I know those of you that have gone all the way through. A player. So I know that you're an A player. Take the actions, you know, to your continued and future success. And if we haven't met in person yet, I look forward to meeting you in person and helping you on the next stage of your journey.